I brought a prop today. I brought my hiking backpack. And I'm going to be, for the purposes of this illustration, you're going to imagine I have all my hiking clothes on, and I'm not dressed in a skirt because I wouldn't go hiking like this. But my hiking backpack is all set for my hike, and it's pretty heavy. But I wanted to kind of go through it and show you some things of what I should take. Maybe, Sherry, you can help me with this. Of what should I take on a winter hike with me? Because it's winter now, so you got to prep differently in the winter than you do in the summer. I'll put this down for a moment. Okay. Oh. Weighs more than I do. Okay. Okay, so first of all, I have a tent. Now, I already said I don't do backpacking. This is just in case I got stuck out there in the middle of a blizzard, which I also look at the weather beforehand, so I shouldn't even get stuck out there in a blizzard. But that might not be the most efficient tent I could bring with me to survive. You ever see those little tiny tents that people pack, and they just, poof, they go up? That probably isn't the best. What's a tent without a sleeping bag? So I brought my trusty sleeping bag here, but I probably wouldn't need that either. So, that stuff, I think I can shed that weight. Let's see, what else do I have in here? I got my hiking poles, that's a good thing. But they're not assembled, and so on the trail, I have to kind of figure out how I'm doing this. Maybe? Okay. So, this is why you check your equipment before you go on a hike. I made the mistake of not doing that when I brought these with me. And so now I have a hiking pole that doesn't even work. So I can maybe go along like that, but it's not going to do me much good on a mountain. So that's useless. And there's only one, because I lost another one on the trail. So anyways, let's see, what else do I have? Yeah, thank you. Cool. All right. So let's see what's essential in here and what I can get rid of. I got a tin of sardines. That's good survival food, but maybe not on this trip. I got my makeup, just in case I have to touch up while I'm out there. I got my bathing suit, in case I want to take a frosty dip in a lake. Maybe I don't need that. What else can I get? I've got an umbrella, but it's not raining up there. Do you think I need the umbrella? No? Okay. All right, well, that's necessary. That's put it around your neck to keep warm. That's a good one. I got a pair of socks. Oh, I got another pair of socks. Oh, I got another pair of socks. Maybe I don't need 3 pairs of socks. You think 1 would be sufficient? Maybe 2? Okay. I got my book on wilderness first responder, just in case I run into any people that have emergencies out on the trail. That's necessary, wouldn't it be? You think? Should have read it before I went out there. Yeah, I think that would be essential. And if I ran into some random injury that I didn't know anything about, well, you know what? The Lord will help me figure it out. So, let's see. Oh, a can of beans and a can opener. That's a good survival food. And I think that's probably going to add more weight. Maybe I could find something else to take along for food. I brought a bottle of water. You think that will last me for a 10-hour hike? And it's winter, so what's going to happen to that? It'll freeze. So no, that does me no good. So now I'm without water, but I have my survival book. It will tell me what to do if you run out of water, and if you're, whatever. Yeah. I got a sweater. Well, that's necessary, but maybe not that particular one. Another sweater. A pair of mittens. My slippers. For if I decide to sit down and take my boots off for a moment, or back in the car. Maybe I should just leave them in the car. Yeah, maybe I'll just leave them in the car. All right. We got my radio. Let's see. Okay, I got my crampons. Those are necessary. That is essential. When you're hiking in the wintertime, gives you grip, gives you a way to not slide down the mountain. I got my dried mangoes, I guess. Map, that's essential. Salt, yeah. A splint. I mean, that's probably falls under that first aid gear that you're never going to need to use if I needed to like immobilize somebody and take them out on a board. I don't think I'm going to run into that. This is that kit that I was telling you about that has everything possible in it. It's got like all the multi-tools, the fishing lures. I think it has a saw and an animal trap in it. You can probably whittle that down. No pun intended, whittle it down. My first aid kit. It has sutures in it, which I probably would never use. I don't think I'm going to sew anybody up in the back country. But, let's see. A pack of raisins, which I never eat on the trail anyway. And, okay, well, I mean, some of that stuff I guess could be necessary, but maybe not. Oh, I got more raisins. Okay, I don't think I need that many raisins. A water filter, that's good. But there's probably not going to be any running water up in the mountains in the winter. Got hot hand warmers. Those are good. Tissues. Always need tissues, especially when you're out in the cold. So I think about half of this stuff in here I probably could remove, because it's all about removing the unnecessary weights. You know, I think if I'm going up a mountain, those weights might hold me back. And if you're on this journey called life, you want it to be ultralight. I'm not packing it so that I'm going on a trip right now. So I would not normally pack it this way. But that can stay, that can come. So you see some things that I had in here that I could take out. And you see some things that I forgot to bring that might be necessary. Other than a can of beans and a can of sardines and dried mango, I don't really have any sustenance. Oh yeah, I didn't bring my chocolate. Oh, that is good on the trail. It is. I have my SOS thing. That's good. That's necessary. But now, you know, considering I removed all that, see how much easier it is for me to continue on my journey. It's a lot more balanced. I feel more prepared. I'm not starting out the hike already. Okay, here we go. Life is like that. What if you have your fluffy bunny slippers but no water? You'll be comfortable while you're dehydrated. I mean, you could say that at least. But we want a successful hike. We don't want to be stuck out there having to have somebody use this book on us because we just weren't prepared. We fell to the wilderness with some random injury because our backpack was lopsided, too heavy, knocked us over, or we just got too exhausted to continue. You know, it's one thing to get up the mountain, but you got to get down it too. You gotta make sure that you have the end in sight, and the end is not the peak. The end is getting back to your car. You might have the energy to be able to, let's just say you do have the energy to be able to trek that whole thing up the mountain. But now can you make it all the way back down? If you have no water, you're going to do eat snow along the way. That gets not supposed to. That will take your body temperature down, and then you'll be dealing with a whole other set of issues. And so, you know, like with that first aid book, do I really need to bring the first aid book with me on the hike? Or should I have learned it before the hike? Should I have learned the material before even beginning the hike? Before even setting out? Before deciding to take on something? Before you got to count the cost beforehand? Skills don't weigh anything. Whatever skills you can develop in life, the lessons you learn, preferably from others and not from your own experience. Although, yeah, wisdom doesn't weigh anything. The more skills you have, it's not going to add any weight to your backpack. It might actually take weight out of your backpack. Think of the people who have memorized Scripture. Your word have I hidden in my heart that I might not sin against you. There's the story of Richard Wurmbrand, who was put in solitary confinement for being a believer, for being a pastor in the midst of all the stuff that was going on. And he said that what kept him going was the word that he had memorized. And his only regret was that he hadn't put more scriptures to memory. Because, no matter what the government tries to take from you, they can't take what's in your heart. They can't take what's hidden in your heart. The Christians in China, Chinese Christians right now are memorizing entire books of the Bible because they can't take that from you. So whatever skills, many of these tips that I just read to you here, they apply to more than just backpacking or hiking. They apply to life. What do you have in your backpack that's not necessary? And what are you missing that you might really need along the way? What in our life helps us on our journey and will enable us to reach our destination safely? What is hindering us? What's throwing us off of balance? What don't we need? What can we change? What can we get rid of? What can we leave behind as we move into 2024 that will make the journey through the year balanced, safe, and enjoyable? Some things you learn along the way. I thought I would need this, but in reality, I never used it, and it just weighed me down. Okay, so next time, don't take it with you. Leave it behind. Can I change it to something lighter? Maybe you don't need that 64-ounce bottle of shampoo. Just bring a little travel-sized bottle, okay? Being prepared doesn't necessarily always mean carrying your whole closet with you just in case. And I think I tend to be an over-preparer. I bring more than I need, than I will ever need. But over the years of experience, it's taught me, leave it behind. Just leave it behind. Don't go with the what ifs. What ifs may never happen. Probably will never happen in 1,000 years of human experience. Only a few people have ever had that happen. But let's find what is absolutely necessary to have with you. In order to get in balance, we must start with our relationship with Yahweh. That has to be first and foremost. If we have him at the center of our life, it will bring everything else in our life back into balance. You might think that you don't have time to read the word and you're too busy. But you know what I find is that when I start the day with the word, suddenly I find I have more time for everything else. It's like it creates more time in the day. The supernatural aspect of the word is that it gives life. And it creates more opportunities to get things in order. You have everything else in order. If you start your day with him, you have everything else in order. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. That's about balance. Matthew 23:23, Yeshua's talking to the Pharisees, and he says, woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You give 1/10 of your spices, mint, dill, and cumin, but you have neglected the more important matters of the law, justice, mercy, and faithfulness. You should have practiced the latter without neglecting the former. So it's like some of the things in the backpack, Some of the things I brought along, but I neglected to bring along more essential things. Some of the things in there, yeah, you need to bring those along. You need a first aid kit, whatever. You need to bring these things along. You should have done that without neglecting to bring the water that won't freeze. Isaiah 28:24, when a farmer plows for planting, does he plow continually? Does he keep on breaking up and working the soil? If you saw a farmer out there and all summer he's just breaking up the soil, you say, what's wrong with him? He's stuck in a pattern. Eventually you got to move on and plant. Luke chapter 10, 38 through 42. Let's turn there. It's a familiar passage again. Yeshua comes to bring order. He comes to bring balance into your life. And he'll show you where things may be out of balance. Luke 10, verse 38. Now, while they were on their way, it occurred that Yeshua entered a certain village, and a woman named Martha received and welcomed him into her house. And she had a sister named Mary, who seated herself at the Lord's feet and was listening to his teaching. But Martha, overly occupied and too busy, was distracted with much serving, and she came up to him and said, "Lord, is it nothing to you that my sister has left me to serve alone? Tell her then to help me, to lend a hand and do her part along with me." But the Lord replied to her by saying, "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things. There is need of only one or but a few things. Mary has chosen the good portion, that which is to her advantage, which shall not be taken away from her." So, in the life of living a life in balance, Martha's life was out of balance. Mary's life was in more balance because Yeshua was at the center of her focus. You know what? He's the one who multiplied food. He could just create a meal for them. Who said that Martha had to go and create this big meal? Did he ask her to do that? No, she took it upon herself. She was out of balance in her life. Yahweh himself set the precedent for living a balanced life. Genesis 2:2-3, and on the seventh day, Yahweh finished his work that he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work that he had done. So God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it, Yahweh rested from all his work that he had done in creation. So you'll find when you start living a balanced life, when you get things in order in your life, you're going to be less frustrated, less tired. You're going to be in a place of more shalom. Balance brings shalom. And it will cause you to be able to walk successfully in your journey of life.